Imagine preparing for a major political battle, building alliances, attracting big names, and positioning yourself as a fresh alternative ahead of the 2027 elections, only to find yourself facing a legal challenge that could question the very foundation of your political party. That is the situation currently generating discussions across Nigeria, as reports indicate that the National Democratic Coalition, widely known as the NDC, is facing a fresh court case that could have serious implications for its future. What makes this story even more interesting is the involvement of two of Nigeria's most talked about political figures, Peter Obi and Rabiu Kwankwaso. As conversations continue around possible political realignments ahead of 2027, legal questions surrounding the registration and status of the NDC have suddenly become a major topic of debate. Before we go deeper into this development, take a moment to like this video if you enjoy balanced political analysis. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss important updates from Nigeria's political scene, and share this video with others who want to stay informed. Most importantly, let us know your thoughts in the comment section as we discuss this developing story. According to reports making the rounds, a rival politician has reportedly filed a fresh legal action challenging the registration and legitimacy of the NDC. The case is attracting attention because it comes at a time when discussions about opposition unity and coalition politics are becoming increasingly important ahead of the next general election. Now, it is important to understand what is being alleged and what is not. A court filing does not automatically mean a political party has done anything wrong. It simply means certain claims have been presented before the judiciary, and the court will examine the arguments, evidence, and legal positions before reaching any conclusion. That distinction is very important because in Nigeria's democracy, legal disputes are expected to be settled through the courts rather than through speculation. Reports indicate that the lawsuit is questioning whether certain procedures connected to the party's registration complied fully with relevant legal and electoral requirements. Supporters of the challenge argue that there are issues that deserve judicial review. On the other hand, those defending the party are expected to argue that the registration process followed the appropriate legal framework and that the party remains a legitimate political platform. The reason this matter is attracting so much public interest is not just because of the legal arguments, it is because of the wider political implications. Whenever a political party that hopes to play a major role in a future election faces a court challenge, questions naturally arise about stability, credibility, and long-term viability. For many observers, the biggest question is how this situation could affect politicians who may be considering the platform as a vehicle for future electoral ambitions. In recent months, discussions about opposition cooperation have become more frequent. Political analysts have repeatedly suggested that alliances could play a crucial role in determining the outcome of the 2027 presidential election. That is where the names of Peter Obi and Rabiu Kwankwaso enter the conversation. Both men remain influential political figures with substantial support bases across different parts of Nigeria. Peter Obi continues to command attention following his performance in the 2023 presidential election, while Kwankwaso maintains significant influence, particularly through his political structure and loyal supporters. Because of their political weight, any discussion involving a potential coalition platform naturally attracts public interest. If a party associated with coalition discussions becomes entangled in legal battles, people begin asking whether such disputes could affect future plans. Now, it is important to be careful here. At the time of these discussions, political calculations can change quickly. Alliances may be proposed, adjusted, expanded, or abandoned. Therefore, any suggestion regarding future candidacies remains subject to political decisions, legal developments, and electoral processes that are still ahead. Nevertheless, the court challenge has introduced a new layer of uncertainty. Political parties depend heavily on public confidence. They also depend on organizational stability. Investors, donors, supporters, volunteers, and political stakeholders often want assurance that a party's legal status is secure. When legal disputes emerge, attention shifts away from policy discussions and toward court proceedings. For the NDC, this means that legal developments could become just as important as political strategy in the coming months. Another reason this case matters is that Nigerian politics has witnessed several situations where legal disputes significantly influence political outcomes. Across different election cycles, court rulings have affected party leadership contests, candidate nominations, delegate selections, and even election results. Because of that history, many Nigerians understand that legal battles can sometimes become just as important as campaign rallies. Supporters of the NDC may argue that the lawsuit is politically motivated and designed to slow down momentum. Critics, meanwhile, may argue that every political organization must be prepared to withstand legal scrutiny. Both perspectives are likely to feature prominently as the case moves through the judicial process. One interesting aspect of this situation is timing. Political actors across the country are already thinking beyond current events and looking toward 2027. Even though the election is still some distance away, preparations often begin years in advance. Political consultations, alliance talks, strategy meetings, and grassroots mobilization rarely start a few months before an election. They usually begin much earlier. That means developments happening today could influence decisions made tomorrow. If legal uncertainty continues, some political stakeholders may decide to wait before committing fully to any platform. Others may remain confident that the issues will eventually be resolved. The final outcome could depend largely on how quickly the courts address the matter and what conclusions they ultimately reach. For ordinary Nigerians watching from home, there is another important question. How does all of this affect governance and national issues? Many citizens are less concerned about political maneuvering and more interested in economic conditions, job creation, security, infrastructure, education, and the cost of living. From that perspective, legal disputes among political actors may seem distant from everyday concerns. However, supporters of democratic engagement would argue that strong political institutions matter because they shape future leadership choices. The health of political parties today can influence the quality of electoral competition tomorrow. That is why developments like these attract national attention even before campaigns officially begin. As discussions continue, legal experts will likely focus on specific questions. What exactly does the lawsuit allege? What evidence has been presented? What legal precedents may apply? How strong are the arguments on both sides? These are the kinds of issues that courts are designed to evaluate. Meanwhile, political observers will be watching a different set of questions. Will this challenge affect coalition discussions? Will it change calculations among opposition figures? Will supporters remain confident? Will new alliances emerge? Those questions may not have immediate answers. What is clear, however, is that the coming months could be significant for all parties involved. Court proceedings often move through several stages. There may be responses, counter-arguments, applications, hearings, and possible appeals, depending on how events unfold. Because of that, observers should expect the story to evolve rather than conclude overnight. This is also a reminder of how closely law and politics are connected in modern democracies. Political ambitions may generate headlines, but legal compliance remains essential. Whether a party is large or small, established or newly formed, it must operate within the framework of the law. As this case develops, supporters of different political camps will undoubtedly offer competing interpretations. Some will see the lawsuit as a serious threat, others will view it as a temporary obstacle. Still, others may believe it is simply part of the normal democratic process. Whatever position one takes, patience will be important. Court cases are ultimately decided through legal procedures, not through social media debates, rumors, or political slogans. If you're finding this discussion useful, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with friends and family who follow Nigerian politics. Your engagement helps more people stay informed about important developments shaping the country's political future. And once again, head to the comment section and tell us what you think. Do you believe legal challenges like this can significantly influence political coalitions ahead of 2027? Or do you think voters will focus more on candidates and policies than party disputes? For now, all eyes remain on the courts, the political stakeholders involved, and the wider implications for Nigeria's evolving political landscape. Reports indicate that the legal challenge has added fresh uncertainty to an already dynamic political environment, and many Nigerians will be watching closely to see what happens next. As always, staying informed is the best approach. Political stories can change quickly, legal proceedings can produce unexpected outcomes, and today's headline can become tomorrow's turning point. We'll continue following developments and bringing you updates as more information becomes available. Thanks for watching, and be sure to share your thoughts below.